Hello, changemakers. Today, we're diving deep into a controversial topic, gendered language. You've heard phrases like mailman, fireman, or policeman. But have you ever wondered why we're still using these gender-specific terms in 2024? Isn't it time for English to evolve into something more inclusive? Let's explore why clinging to outdated gendered language might be more harmful than helpful, and what we can do to change it. First, let's get historical.
Gendered language isn't just a quirk of English.
It's baked into many languages, especially European ones, like French, Spanish, and German, where objects like tables and chairs have genders. Yes, really.
But while English doesn't go that far, it still carries the baggage of a time when gender roles were more rigid.
You know, the good old days when women were homemakers and men were the breadwinners. And gender stereotypes weren't just tolerated, they were expected. Fun times, right?
So what's the big deal about words like chairman or stewardess?
On the surface, it might seem harmless. Just a tradition, right?
Wrong! Language shapes the way we think.
When we consistently use male-oriented terms like policeman or congressman, it reinforces the idea that men are the default for those roles.
It's like we're telling women, non-binary, and genderqueer folks, hey, you're the exception here, not the rule.
And that subtle reinforcement of gender roles adds up over time, contributing to inequality.
Gendered terms serve as a linguistic gatekeeping tool, locking people out of opportunities or making them feel less welcome.
Ah, yes, the classic argument. But we've always used he to refer to everyone.
Why fix what isn't broken? Well, newsflash, it is broken.
Using he as a default erases women, non-binary people.
And anyone who doesn't fit into the male category, it's exclusionary. And guess what?
You wouldn't call a woman he in real life.
So why should we do it in our writing?
Language should reflect the reality of our society. And in today's world, that means recognizing all genders, not just one.
Now, some folks say that gender-neutral language is just too complicated.
What's wrong with he and she? Why can't we stick with what we know?
But the truth is, adopting inclusive terms is easier than you think. Instead of saying fireman, how about firefighter?
Rather than policeman, say police officer.
Instead of chairman, just use chair. It's not rocket science. The word doesn't lose its meaning, just its unnecessary gender bias.
And for those still hanging on to he as a default pronoun, use they.
It's already a common part of our speech, and works perfectly in both singular and plural forms. English evolves all the time, and this is just another step in its growth.
Let's address the elephant in the room. Why are people so resistant to this change?
Some argue that it's about tradition, or political correctness gone mad.
Others claim gender-neutral language is confusing or awkward.
But here's the thing. Language is always evolving.
Remember when you was once only used in the plural form?
Or when people started saying email instead of electronic mail? Words change. Meanings change.
And holding on to outdated, gendered terms for the sake of tradition just doesn't cut it anymore.
Here's where things get real.
Studies show that gendered language can have a tangible impact on how we perceive gender roles.
A study from the University of Bern found that using male-centric language made women less likely to apply for certain jobs.
It literally changes the way people think about their own possibilities.
So, if you're still doubting whether language matters, the science is in. It does.
What about other languages? Good question.
English is far from alone in its gender problem.
But many languages are already evolving.
Swedish, for example, has adopted the gender-neutral pronoun hen.
And German is seeing movements to neutralize gendered terms in professions.
If other languages are making strides, there's no reason English can't follow suit. We just have to be willing to take that step.
So, what can we do?
First, start using gender-neutral terms in your daily speech. Ditch businessman for business person.
Swap out waitress for server.
And trade he for they when referring to someone whose gender isn't known.
And don't forget, call people what they want to be called.
It's about respecting people's identities and creating a more inclusive world.
So, let's align with the times.
And make English more inclusive. It's a simple shift.
but one that can have a huge impact.
Ready to evolve your language?
Hit that subscribe button for more linguistic deep dives.
And let's start making change one word at a time.